Welcome. Welcome to another What's Up Wednesday. This is episode 19. 19 consecutive weeks we've come at you at 6 p.m. Central every Wednesday. And we have a giant show for you tonight. Let me run you through this. We're coming at you live from a secret location near Cincinnati. This is a great town. If you've never been to Cincinnati, this is a cool town. Tonight, I would love to know where you're watching from. I see some of you already putting that in there. Beaver Creek, Ohio, Frisco, Texas, North Carolina. Thank you for that. Look at this viewer. This came up on the one of the YouTube video comments. Tunisia. I didn't even know there was a country. I have to be embarrassed about that. I had to look it up. Tunisia. And our special guest tonight has actually been here, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. Let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And the format to ask a question. We're following Kevin Martin 30 of a Wake Up. 3 stars, 3 question marks. Helps me find your question easier. Guess we have our special guest tonight. He's coming at you live from Hawaii here in just a minute. And speaking of special guests, look at these guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have coming up. We've got the GM of Forest River's Coachman Division, Nick, coming on, and we got Nick from Sunshine State RVs. All they do is focus on RVs. Man, if you got a Class B question, these two cats are the ones to ask. And then we got RV financing all the time, getting questions about RV financing. And I've got an expert from Winnebago Motorhomes in Rockford, Illinois, coming in to help us with that. Look at these events. If you saw my little 3-minute video I sent out today, we have so much going on. I've been working overtime for you to put out some content, bring us together. And if you're Volta curious and you're in the Chicagoland area, we're actually doing a meetup at the Volta headquarters on the 27th. Asking for Eventbrite tickets there. That's free, but we're going to be touring the factory. So this is a special sneak thing that we got going on. Working overtime for you, which is pretty cool. Recent video. Thanks for all your comments on my food. This is pretty funny. Question of the week. This is a great question for our special guest tonight to help me answer. RV news headlines. Of course, viewer recommendation. Who needs a white noise in their RV? Apparently people with dogs. And wait till you see the pet pick of the week. I actually got a video, dogs eating whipped cream. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. So without further ado, we'd like to bring on Kevin Martin. Where are you, Kevin? Oh my gosh, there he is. There he is, sorry. How you doing, sir? Welcome from Hawaii.
Hey, what's going on, Scott? Thanks for having me on. It's awesome to see you again.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, it's just a delight to have you here, and you've got so many stories to tell. We have so many questions. I got a few myself, and the viewers are already lining up the questions. So Kevin's here. If you haven't joined his channel, good heavens, why not? 30 to Wake Up, and on Instagram, pretty ferociously too, right?
Yeah, definitely, especially lately.
So. It's so cool. So yeah, we got folks coming in from all over. Look at this: North Carolina, Wisconsin, Cape Cod, New York, crazy time, Louisville, just down the road. So get the questions coming in for Kevin. This is all about you being able to interact with him directly. A little different format than maybe you're used to seeing him in. And I got a question for you. What kind of brought you to Hawaii to kind of kick things off?
What brought me to Hawaii? Yeah. So I was in the military for 20 years, as you know, and my first duty station was in Hawaii. So as a kid who grew up in the Midwest and rarely left the Midwest, I joined the military, the Navy specifically, in 1994 because I wanted to travel and see the world. And I was fortunate enough that I got stationed in Hawaii. And as we discussed before, even though it's part of the U.S., it's as culturally different as can possibly be. It's more like being in a foreign country with all the conveniences of the U.S. than it is actually being in the U.S. And I ended up living in Hawaii for 9 years, not consecutively, but 9 years. So it's kind of my home away from home. And as I left VanLife for a little bit, I wanted to go somewhere familiar to kind of use as a jumping off point to return to international travel for a while. So that's kind of what brought me here. It's kind of my home away from home. So it's been really cool to be back. A lot of things are the same. You can still get spam at McDonald's and 7-Eleven. A lot of things are different, though. There's been so much construction here since I left in 2004. It's kind of crazy, actually.
Oh, wow, yeah. And what's a gallon of milk going for there in Hawaii?
What's that?
What's a gallon of milk going for there in Hawaii?
Oh, I don't know. It's like $6 or $7. Yeah,
It's expensive. I remember when I was there, it was great.
those kind of things are really expensive here.
Yeah, they got ship them in or get Hawaiian cow juice. Look, we got Ginger Walkabout in the house saying hi,
Hey,
boys.
Ginger.
That's cool. I know. Oh, look at this. One of your favorite haunts, Thailand, kicking in. Hey, James, thanks for
Oh,
watching.
very cool. Very cool.
And what
James.
time is it in? He's watching it in the morning time, apparently. What time is it in Hawaii?
In Hawaii right now, it's 105.
105. So it's
it's 5 hours difference from Central, 6 hours from the East Coast.
That's great. We got Phoenix coming in, Des Moines, Iowa, Florida. Yeah, there's Whitbury. I've seen this person on yours as well.
Yeah, Brian.
This is so great. Yeah, thanks. Keep the questions coming in, folks. This is Kevin. He's the YouTube live master. So he's so here's a question right here, right out of the gate. Go ahead and chime in on this one. Anytime Fitness or Planet Fitness memberships realistically useful as backup for overnight boondocking, rather than just showering and getting SOL? I'm not sure what that means. Let's take a stab at that one.
Yeah, so I had a Planet Fitness membership, and I know Chad and Paul have Anytime Fitness. I used it enough to justify the cost. I think it's a good plan to have. I think it's like $20 a month, and it's in most places, and you can use your membership at any location. I know there are more Anytime Fitness locations than there are Planet Fitness locations, but Anytime Fitness is kind of hit or miss, where Planet Fitness are pretty consistent. I used it, and I'll be honest with you, you have to go into your home gym to cancel your membership. And so recently I went in and canceled mine, and I thought it was going to be this huge pain in the butt. They're going to bring me in and they're going to try to talk me into staying, and it wasn't. It took 2 seconds. And so I have nothing but good things to say about Planet Fitness. It's a great way to, I think, to be able to get those long hot showers if you want them, and also get a workout in too.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The other thing I'm using it for more and more, since libraries are still super hit or miss on availability, is Wi-Fi. I can see they've really leaned on their Wi-Fi lately. I have not had a bad Wi-Fi experience at a Planet Fitness in quite a while. So to go in there and just do the uploads and what have you. Nebraska coming in. This is great. Great to see you. Yeah, hit the thumbs up button for Kevin or me. I'll take a thumb up too. Qatar. You ever been to Qatar? I
have. It's actually pronounced. It's actually pronounced like Qatar, like the mix of gutter and cutter. As Americans, we pronounce it Qatar, but I was stationed. I was stationed in Iraq, and one of the R&R locations was Qatar. So I spent a little time in Qatar when I was deployed to Iraq.
Cool place to travel to, maybe?
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful city. Beautiful. Doha, Qatar is beautiful.
Thanks, Joseph, for tuning in from Qatar tonight. Appreciate that. How about this one, Kevin? I didn't know you had a little drone issue. Bass wants to know, did you get your drone back?
Yeah, so I got the coolest drone in the world, which is really hard to get. It's a Skydio, and it's a drone that follows you, but it doesn't use imagery to follow you. It uses GPS. Like DJI drones will lose your image sometimes, and they'll quit following you. Skydio makes really good follow drones. It's the one the U.S. military uses to follow them in their combat situations. And so it's a really reliable drone for follow footage. And I'd gotten one, and I was going to use it for recording a bunch of really cool stuff with the Storyteller rig I took out. And I left it in my rental car. And of course, the kid that cleaned the rental car probably found it and didn't turn it in. And so, yeah, I never got it back.
Yeah, never found that. That's funny. We bought a drone. Never learned how to turn it on. It was just another learning curve. I just didn't feel, and there's so many restrictions on using drones these days, right? You have to, some of them like licenses, and so I just didn't go down that.
Yeah, if they weigh a certain amount, also it's hard to travel with them into foreign countries. But I got my drone pilot's license. It's actually pretty easy. It's just a test. It's actually pretty easy, but yeah, I tell people all the time, like, you don't really need drone footage. to have a successful YouTube channel. Actually, you definitely don't. It's kind of overused now. I was hoping just to get some good driving shots of the Storyteller in the desert with it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's cool. This is a good question. This is a great channel, friend of the channel, Sherry, in Wisconsin. Which Hawaiian island is a must visit?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of partial to Oahu because that's where I've lived. But I tell people all the time, it just depends on what you're into. So if you're into mountain bike riding, like Molokai has some of the best mountain bike riding in the world. If you're into like flowers and like gardening type of stuff, it would definitely be Kauai. Kauai is the garden island, very flowery, very lush, very rainforesty, very pretty, a lot of great smells. If you're into like black sand beaches, you go to Maui, or in like kind of like a romantic setting. Oahu's more of like, you know, you got Honolulu here, so you have the big city. You still have beautiful islands. You have a lot of really great surfing towns on Oahu. And then the big island is kind of like Texas. It's full of a bunch of cowboys and cattle ranchers. And even though it's the biggest island, it has more of that small town feel. So it just depends on what you're looking for when you come to Hawaii. So it's a really tough question to answer. I'm partial to Oahu because that's where I lived my 9 years. I mean, I've been to the other islands, but Oahu is kind of a special place to me. So,
And I've been to the Big Island, and that's my only experience. But there's so much. There's a lot of history there. I mean, there's a lot of military history. Pearl Harbor, obviously.
Yeah,
and that was always very fascinating to me. And it's easy to kind of get to, you know, if you're on the West Coast from Chicago or Florida is kind of it's a long trek, but Southwest wise to Hawaii now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I always tell people on the East Coast to just fly to Vegas, stay in Vegas for a night, and then fly to Hawaii because you can get a cheap. Number one, you can get a really cheap flight to Hawaii out of Vegas because Hawaiians love going. People who live in Hawaii love going to Vegas, so it's a really cheap flight with Hawaiian Airlines or United, and because they got like a partnership with the hotels there. And then you can stay a night, you know, fly from Florida to Vegas, stay a night, and then you got a much shorter flight to Hawaii. Yeah.
And how is it? Is it fairly open at this point, COVID-wise, or is it you have to bring a bunch of documentation with you? What's that like?
Yeah, so you got to get a test 72 hours in advance, a COVID test. That's the current policy. You have to have a COVID test from one of their approved COVID test providers. Can't have a rapid test. You got to have a PCR. If you go to, it's like safetravel.hawaii. something. If you Google Hawaii travel, you'll get it, and it'll give you the requirements. It was pretty easy. You upload it onto the computer system. They give you a QR code, and it was actually a pretty easy process. I'm sure I'm vaccinated as well. I'm sure as more people get vaccinated, you'll just have to upload your proof of vaccination. I'm sure at some point, but it's still pretty easy to get, and you gotta take a COVID test 72 hours before you fly.
That's pretty reasonable. This is a little bit of a throwback here, Kevin. So Jane wants to say hi, Scott and Kevin. Time for a steak dinner. Yeah, Scott's buying. I'm cooking. I'm not buying.
Yeah, we met Jane. We met Jane up in Idaho, right?
Wallace, Idaho, the camp out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooked you both steak dinners. That was so much fun. That was a dream I always had, was cooking steak dinners for viewers. It was so great. Yeah, so Martine wants to know, hey, Kevin, do you know if you'll be getting a van in Hawaii? Yeah, what's the story there?
Yeah, so I'm working with a company right now. And so I haven't finalized anything yet, but I'll definitely figure out a way to do a little van camping in Hawaii. It's a little bit hard here. Hawaii has a really bad homeless situation that they need to deal with. And so there's a lot of restrictions on camping here in your vehicle. And so it's a little bit more difficult here, but I do have access to the military bases, which have campsites. So maybe we'll do that. I'm still trying to figure it all out, but I'll definitely, there'll be at least a day or two in a van, I'm sure.
That's cool. This is a good question. So Deborah wants to know, Kevin, after all those marathon lives from Kevin, it's been weird not to see him. You've had some long.
Yeah,
I think the longest one I saw was like 5.5 hours, which is just incredible. I'm surprised your batteries lasted that long, and
what?
your brain for that matter. But what's your favorite thing
Yeah.
about Hawaii, and what have you been doing? She asked.
Well, at the Tampa RV show, I think I did 8 hours straight. Um, because people just wanted to see it. That video still gets tons of views too, which is crazy because it's very shaky. I don't know how people can sit and watch it. It's so shaky. I haven't done lives lately because my videos are usually a few weeks behind me, and I didn't want to give up the fact that I was in Hawaii. Tomorrow's video, actually, since you guys are on here, you already know I'm in Hawaii. The last scene is me in Hawaii. It's kind of a long video. It's me basically camping at all these really cool spots over a 72-hour, well, actually a 96-hour period, hiking in Arches National Park, going and seeing dinosaur footprints, going to Leadville, Colorado, which is one of my favorite camp spots in the snow, going deep into the woods there, running into some bear activity, and then dropping off the Storyteller, and the video kind of cuts to me in Hawaii on the beach. And so I haven't done any live streams because I kind of wanted to keep that fresh. But I spoiled it for everybody here. But there's a scene of me in Hawaii on there. So I will start doing more live streams after tomorrow. When I release that video, actually, it'll be released at 2 a.m. where I'm at. But I'll start doing live streams pretty soon. Again.
Yeah, and your live streams are just so cool. I had not really done live streams until I saw, the interaction with you, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. So that's why we do the What's Up Wednesday. It's a little bit of a program thing with a guest like yourself. And just thanks again. I know you're only been there a few days, and to take time out in the light. How long does it take for your body to rebalance on time zones?
Yeah, that's always a tough one. I tried to adjust when I was in the States, and it still hit me. I'm just starting to get to the point where I'm in a normal sleep pattern. I don't sleep very much anyway. I only sleep like 5 or 6 hours a night. So I'm already pretty sleep deprived as it is. So the jet lag always hits me really hard because I end up only sleeping like 2 hours a night. But I'm finally adjusted. Last night I got a good night's sleep. And actually, before I got on with you, this morning I did a 9-mile hike. And so I was really energized for this live stream. By the way, my live streams in the future are going to be a little bit different now that I'm traveling outside of a van and I have more reliable cell phone coverage. Most of my lives now are going to be kind of like that Tampa RV live where I have my phone on a gimbal and I'm walking around whatever area I'm in. So my next live stream will probably be me taking people down to Waikiki Beach. So.
And what a lovely place for a live stream.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Probably not super full of people at this point. So this is a frequent.
That's great.
Yeah, right. This is a frequent commenter. Hi, Linda. I think I'm in your neck of the woods, right? Cincinnati, Ohio. Kind of answered this already, Kevin, but ask what island you're on. Are you stay on one island or move around?
Yeah, so right now, Hawaii only lets you travel inter-island without a COVID test if you have been vaccinated in Hawaii, which I think is a ridiculous rule because, it's all at CVS or Walgreens anyway. But even here. But that's the rule right now. So I don't want to have to take a test to go to another island and to come back. So unless they adjust that rule, which I hope they do because I'm here for 2 months, I probably will stick mostly on Oahu. But there's so much to explore on Oahu that I think I'm still going to have a great time here.
Yeah, it's hard not to have a good time in Hawaii. Let's see. Chicago's coming in. Thank you for that. Hey, Oscar, what's up? We're going to be in Chicagoland soon. Again, check out my website. I got so many events planned. We're just working the midnight oil for you folks to, because we can't do a lot of RV tours. Kevin and I were talking about this because there's new models coming out by Thor and Pleasureway. the challenge is there's no vans to actually get into unless there's an RV show. I need to look into that a little bit, but we're doing a lot of channel roundups was my point there. So check out my website, gosmalllivelarge.com, and you can see what we got going on. Michael's got a question for you here. This is kind of a interesting one. When's the last time you guys occupied the same space? I think that would be the Idaho Campout Wallace, right?
No. I got to hang out at Scott's house.
Oh yeah, that's right.
With Chad and Paul, I met them down in Florida.
That's right.
And we hung out at your Airbnb, you and Kyle's Airbnb, which is beautiful, by the way. You should do a tour of that Airbnb. That thing
it's pretty cool house.
That thing is the yard and that thing and pool and that thing is amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was after we had our channel roundup at the Anchor Inn, where we and then we went bar hopping. It was pretty funny. Love those things. Let's see. Good questions coming in. I got one for you here. So let me talk to us a little bit about this. So you sold your Travato, and what was that experience like? Was that was it easy to sell? Was there a line out the door to buy it? What was the pricing like? Did you make money on it? Wouldn't that be fun? Normally you don't make money. Just give us a.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, I bought my National Park Edition Travato for $120K. I could have got it for cheaper. I know people who have gotten it as low as $115K. And 21,000 miles later, I sold it for $115,000, and I probably underpriced it. It's like I had offers like I sold it through a consignment company, through a dealer called National RV, because I didn't want to deal with the paperwork, so I had to pay them a certain percentage. I think it was 7%, which was fine for me because I was like, I just don't want to handle the administrative side of it. But I definitely underpriced it because the second it went on the market, there were offers galore on it. And but I mean, it's all good. Like being able to sell a vehicle for $5,000 less. Actually, I could have got it probably for $115 had I negotiated better when I first bought it. But being able to sell it for only $5,000 less a year later after putting 21,000 miles on it was pretty good. I think it was a pretty good deal. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and brought you so much joy, right? And ventures, and just it's so great.
I've
Joseph,
memories of it.
Yeah, right. We'll ask you about the storyteller in a second, but Joseph, this is the gentleman in Qatar.
Okay.
Said he did. Some of these names are probably familiar to you on your channel too, right? We have a little bit of overlap, which is awesome. So Tang's chiming in here. Should they make an auto plane for your rig so you can take it wherever you want? I'm not sure what that means. Do you?
Auto plane? You mean like a plane that carries your autos? I mean, they have boats that do it. I mean, when I lived in Hawaii in the military, I went back to the mainland and they shipped my vehicle by boat. And also the Navy, one of the things the Navy does a lot is you only get one vehicle that you can ship overseas that the government will pay for. But if you have two, like let's say you're married and you and your spouse have one, if you can find a ship going back, a Navy ship, like an aircraft carrier going back to the States, they'll actually unload cars onto the flight deck of the aircraft carrier and take them back for you for free.
That's pretty wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it happens all the time. I've been on ships many times coming back from deployment where we unload a bunch of cars,
civilian cars. That would make me a little nervous. Oscar's got a good question. I'd love your thoughts on this, Kevin. So Oscar wants to know which cell phone network has the best coverage in the U.S. Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, and which is second or third in rank. And you had a WeBoost, a cell phone booster thing too, right?
Yeah, I didn't have that in the Storyteller though. Yeah, so I have all three services. So I have my cell phone is Verizon, and I have this thing called a Local Me, so I'm an international traveler primarily. And this thing, it kind of looks like a cell phone. It's an Android device. You can get it on, it's called a Local Me. I think you can see that here. You can get that on Amazon. It's about, I can't remember exactly how much it is. It's less than $200 though. And this thing works anywhere in the world. You download an app onto your phone and you can purchase a cell phone plan in whatever country you're in. And in the United States, it uses AT&T or T-Mobile, whichever network is stronger. So I use this as a backup to my Verizon. You asked like, what's the best in the country? It just depends. It depends on where you're at. I think out west, I would say Verizon's better. In the Midwest, I'd say AT&T. East Coast, it's just all of them work well because the East Coast is just wired better. But yeah, it just depends on where you're camping at. But if you're going to do a lot of camping out west, I would say probably get Verizon. But also go get an AT&T Jetpack with a prepaid plan where you can pay for data if you need it. And then you got that AT&T when your Verizon might not be working so well. So that's always my advice to people is just get a backup. I mean, the Local Me works. It's not as good as a Jetpack directly from the company or directly from T-Mobile, but it works good. I mean, it worked good for me. I never had an issue with coverage.
Yeah, it's still kind of the biggest headache. I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but so I have a 5G iPhone, and if there's a cell that has LTE and 5G overlays, the phone is trying to always connect and find the best signal, and it has this weird buffering. So I found some annoyance with that, but yeah, I use Verizon. Which go ahead.
Okay, I have Verizon too, and the 5G for me has been good. But I was also out on the West Coast using it. I didn't have it on the East Coast, so it might be something on the East Coast that's funny with it.
Yeah, it looks like they're building out 5G, and if there's sites that are not quite strong enough on the 5G, it downgrades to LTE. But the phone has sometimes a hard time to figure out which one it wants to do. I'm not sure if it's a network issue or a software issue on the iPhone, but that's been really kind of interesting to see play out. And 5G, by the way, is a lot more fast.
It's amazing. That's why I'm going to do live streaming here in Hawaii because I have 5G, and it's so good.
Have you experienced ultra wide?
5G
ultra wide?
I don't think so. I don't even know I know they have 5G in Hawaii, but I'm not sure if they have ultra wide yet.
Yeah, if you get to one, it has a little tiny UW in the corner here, and if you get the super localized, very infrequent downtown metro areas, I found Nashville was my first experience. It was like 1.5 gigabits down. It was like 300 up. I mean, it was like
That's
fiber
amazing.
speed.
That's amazing.
It's so crazy. Yeah, great question, Oscar. Let's see. Michael's got one on diet. Kevin, is keto out the window? I see you're drinking soda.
Well, I'm drinking Coke Zero, so
it doesn't count.
But yeah, I'm still on keto. I still got weight to lose. I'm getting there though. I'm getting closer, especially now that I'm in Hawaii. I run all the time and hike all the time here. That's one of the reasons I came here was to get healthy again. That's one thing about van life is even though you're in the outdoors, I found it harder, especially the way I camp, which is out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm a runner, and you just don't go running out in the middle of the woods in Colorado. Actually, watch my next video, and you'll see why you don't go running out in the middle of the woods in Colorado. Or if you watched my Instagram stories, you saw why you do not go running in the middle of the woods in Colorado. So and part of it was COVID as well. I definitely gained weight and worked out less. Now, that's my own fault. I could have found alternatives and other ways around it. But for me, one of the reasons I came to Hawaii was I know this is a place that is really conducive to working out because it's always nice weather, rarely rains. It's great for running. It's a very active, physically active state. So there's all kinds of hiking trails and running trails and bike trails. So yeah, sorry. Sorry for the long answer to a short question about keto. Yeah, I still am doing keto, and it's much easier to do keto over here because of all the availability of good, fresh fish.
Yeah. You get Spam at McDonald's for breakfast too, though, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I haven't eaten any Spam since I've been here yet. Although Spam is keto friendly, so.
Is it really? That's funny. So let's talk about your storyteller experience. I know you got some videos coming out. We talk about the premiere tomorrow. Um, what was that experience like overall? The team is great. We met them at the Tampa show, and but the rig itself, they're just so different than a Travato. What was your overall experience on that whole thing?
Yeah, so I loved it. It's that company just does such a good job at attention to detail that you can tell that every little detail of the rig was thought out. Where in other with other companies that are bigger and kind of have like more of an assembly line type of situation, they might not think out things as well as they probably should. Like, hey, like in my Travato, for example, hey, is this shower really functional? Um, would someone really use this every single day? That type of thing. Where the storyteller, every little nook and cranny in that vehicle was thought out. Now, the things that they thought out might not be for everyone, that's for sure. But when you get in the thing and you use anything in there, you can just feel the quality. You can feel the quality difference compared to other RVs that I've been in. There's a huge quality difference. So.
Yeah, and they have a very different feel because the walls are fabric, and you'd mentioned they're so quiet.
Yeah,
and they just look so cool.
Yeah, and the off-road capability. You'll see tomorrow in my video where I go on three. I actually end up on three wheels, going down this really rough area, and I there's no way I would have went there in my Travato, first of all, but I probably would have tipped my Travato. I almost guarantee you I would have tripped my Travato, and I definitely would have bottomed it out. The off-road capability is one of the reasons I got rid of the Travato. I love the Travato. I'm not dissing the Travato. I loved my Travato, but it couldn't take me to all the places I wanted to go, where the Storyteller could take me to most of the places I wanted to go. So
that's a good distinction. Tank Scott has a question kind of along the same lines. I'm kind of curious on your answer here. What's your next big or small rig upgrade you have planned?
Yeah, so I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Storyteller actually invited me back in January to help them to use a rig that they're working on. I can't really talk about it, but so in January I'll probably be in another Storyteller doing some vids, just having fun with it. As far as my next rig, I'm like really debating with myself. I kind of want to get something small and build it out like a Honda Element. You know, there's the YouTube channel Element VanLife, but I want to do a real like high-end build out on it. Most Honda Element builds are kind of like in somebody's garage and kind of thrown together. I kind of want something that's smaller that my mom won't mind me parking in her driveway for an extended period of time when I'm traveling. And I can also use as kind of a daily driver. So that's the direction I'm leaning in now, but I'm not 100% sure. I might end up in a Storyteller. I don't know. Or even a Rebel. I have no idea.
Lots of options out there these days. It's pretty amazing. So Kevin, we're at the bottom of the hour here. We go for about an hour for the show overall. You're welcome to stay. We'd love for you to stay the whole hour if you're up for it. Okay. So we'll say thanks for staying. And we got another great question here. Let's bring that up. And I'm not quite sure what Travel Dreamer's talking about. Maybe you do. What right if do you carry on your 9 mile? Is this a pack he's talking about?
Oh, what pack? So I don't carry a pack. Yeah, I'm a minimalist traveler as it is. Like I travel with just one 20-liter backpack that's expandable to 30 liters, but I actually keep it 20 liters. So that has everything that I need to travel around the world in it. And I don't carry it when I hike. I'm in Hawaii now, so most of the hikes I take start in urban areas, and loop around back into urban areas. So I bring a credit card and I buy water at the beginning or at the end whenever I need it. But I usually don't carry anything with me. unless I plan on hiking somewhere where I can like snorkel or do something like that, then I'll carry some snorkel gear with me. But normally I don't really carry anything but my cell phone. If I get myself in a jam, luckily there's coverage all over Hawaii. You're never not going to have coverage. I mean, there's coverage out, like 3 or 4 miles out into the ocean, and my credit card and some cash just in case I need to buy something. So I don't really carry any backpack when I hike.
That's interesting.
But if you're talking about but let me go back though. So that's in Hawaii. When I was in Colorado and I would go on hikes, I would carry bear spray. I'd carry an alert device, just in case, a GPS alert device, cell phone, water. I usually didn't carry food with me, especially in Colorado because of bears. But I would definitely have stuff with me when I did those type of hikes, for sure.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I'm kind of curious. So you were a full-time traveler before you got in the van. You had your backpack. Did you save your backpack, or did you get rid of it and you have to buy it again?
Yeah,
like
so
a pair of jeans, right?
Yeah, I originally had an Osprey backpack. I still have that actually, but that was a 30-liter bag, and they don't really. I really love that Osprey bag, but I actually wanted to go even smaller because the 30-liter Osprey bag. A lot of times when you're on like airlines, especially in Asia, they don't fit in the overhead, and they'll make you check it. And that's what I hate, checking bags. And the 20-liter that I have, which is a nomadic, if you've ever searched anything travel, you probably get spammed with their advertisements all the time on Instagram and Facebook. And now that you've heard me say the word nomadic, and I don't have any brand sponsorship with them or anything, but you're probably going to get spammed with their stuff. But they make really good bags, and they make a 20-liter bag that you can fit under the seat in front of you. So that's why I went down to that bag. I wanted to go smaller. And my goal, to be honest with you, is to eventually get into something even smaller. I still pack too many clothes. My goal is I'll grab the bag. My goal is to get into something, travel full time in something like this. That's my goal. That's my ultimate goal. So I'm slowly but surely working towards that. And that's a 12-liter bag.
That's incredible.
I have to carry too much video and camera equipment with me, so I've got to figure. Yeah, right. That's what I'm trying to figure out, how to carry less of that.
That's so great. Emily says hello. Greg Johnson from Wheeling. Yeah, right. Appreciate that. A lot of so Fernandez, T. Fernandez says really appreciate the Tampa videos you both did. Helped me find the coachman van of my dreams, on order. Congratulations for that. Do you think you get another van, or do you prefer international travel? I'm just going to take a break from the van thing for a little while. Sounds like.
No. Do you? Yeah. Oh, I thought you were asking me, do I want to take a break from talking about vans? No.
Oh, no.
It's funny you mentioned that. You just had Emily up. Emily was sitting in a coachman van at the Tampa RV show. She flew to the Tampa RV show. I saw Emily sitting in a coachman van. So it's funny that other person mentioned coachman. So yeah, I am. So I've talked to Scott about this before, and I try to let my subscribers know this. I'm not a van lifer. I'm a traveler. The van was a vehicle for me to travel, and it's a vehicle that I love, and I will definitely be traveling. I'll definitely be integrating van life and RV life into my travel in the future, no question. But I miss international travel. I traveled in a van for a year, and before the van, I traveled internationally for a year, and I was ready to do something different, so I went into the van. And I'm sure at some point I'll be ready to jump back into a van. Like I said, I might be working with Storyteller in January again. So I like to travel just however I feel. I don't want to so I make a lot more money traveling in a van because people just like watching that stuff more than international travel videos, in my case. But I never wanted to let my YouTube channel dictate my travel style. I didn't want to let money from the YouTube channel dictate my travel style. That's the whole reason I left my job to travel full time, was to do what I want when I want to do it. So I'm hoping my YouTube audience, my van life YouTube audience, will enjoy the international travel and other types of travel I'm going to do. I plan on doing some boat travel, maybe a sailboat, cruise ships, things like that. So the short answer to that question is I plan on doing it all, and bringing my subscribers that are interested in that along for the ride. And if people don't want to watch it, that are only interested in van life, hopefully they'll tune in when I jump into another van, or I build out a Honda Element for van life or whatever. So
that's fantastic. Yeah, which kind of ties into our look at Emily here. Thanks, Emily. My two favorite YouTube dudes.
Emily's awesome.
Funny.
Emily's really cool.
The audience
Emily
is so
owns a
great.
bunch of Airbnbs too, by the way.
No, that's cool. That's super cool. Yeah, the audience is just speaking for you, but for me as well. I get so much joy from the audience. It's just, like when my cat Luke died, the people that came out of the woodwork, supporting me, and I just had a guy say, hey, if you're in the Dayton area, come, camp on my driveway. It's just, people are just, it's a lot of work what we do, but man, the joy back is just, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Let's shift gears just a second. So we're talking about vans and travel, and this is we always like to do a RV news headline. I'll zoom in so you folks can see this. This was the RVIA, RV Industry Association, did another survey. 56 million travelers are planning to travel this summer doing RVing, whether they rent it, they own it, or they borrow it. I think that's a kind of a funny one. People are hitting the road, and an all-time record now, 1.2 million households in the U.S. own an RV. And what's most interesting to me is 10% of those current non-RV owners plan to travel in an RV this summer. So if you're familiar with Ginger Walkabout, she's renting hers. Her and I have had a chat. We might have her back on the show, so she can share her. And she's done videos about this on her experience on renting. It's been pretty fascinating. So let me show you this. Let's see, what's this next? This news story will be on my website later tonight when I get done with the show here. Which brings us to the viewer question of the week, Kevin. We've kind of been talking about it, but this viewer, Blade Rogue, wants to know, to me, if I'm keeping my van or upgrading to a Storyteller. And I got my van where I like it right now. The floor plan works for me perfectly, so I'm probably not buying anything. I'll go test drive one for a little while, a week or so. That'd be kind of cool. And I just love how you just stated a minute ago that you don't want your channel to dictate how you travel. That's really an interesting concept, because otherwise you kind of get pigeonholed. I've seen people with vans move to fifth wheels and into Class C's. Oh gosh, Creativity RV kind of had that, right? She had some flack of getting out of a van, so be curious. But what would you want your van to have if you jump back in one?
Yeah, so for me, smaller the better. That's one thing I learned from going down. People ask me about that new, what is that new Winnebago called that we always get asked about? What the heck is that thing called? Echo.
The Solus?
No, the Echo.
Yeah.
Freaking Echo. People ask me about the Echo all the time, and I'm like, that thing's 24 foot long. That's the exact opposite of the way I want to go. I think it's a cool vehicle for what it is, but it's not something I would want to be in. And to be honest with you, after being in the Storyteller, that it's 2 feet, it's about 1.5 feet less than the Travato. I wouldn't go any bigger than 19 feet now. And I'll be honest with you, I would like to go even smaller. With me, there's still so much wasted space. I really only need a bed, a place to sit down and work, a refrigerator, a microwave, and somewhere to go to the bathroom, right? So for me, it would be the smaller the better. Like to me, the Storyteller's still too big. I would like to go even smaller, but definitely 4x4. That's why I'm looking at the Honda Element, because it's all-wheel drive, and but that is super tiny. So that would be a huge adjustment because I couldn't stand up in it, things like that. Probably couldn't put a bathroom in it. Actually, definitely couldn't put a bathroom in it. So I would have to figure that one out. Yeah, I would have to figure that out. But yeah, for me, it would be. I can't even remember what the question was.
Just, what would you want the van to have? So smaller seems to be the.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. For me, smaller. Yeah, smaller with all the functionality that you need to live in it full time.
That's cool. So I got a question for you. You and I talked about this briefly before we came on live. So you did travel blogging before VanLife. Did VanLife YouTubing make you a better YouTuber?
Yeah, definitely. And
maybe why?
So when I was travel vlogging, I was not a very good travel vlogger. Most of my videos were like 10 things not to do in Malaysia. I wasn't really travel vlogging. And van life, I still did those kind of videos in van life, but it made me more of a travel vlogger. And I'm actually getting ready to kind of switch up my style again, based on some of the things I did in van life with travel vlogging. I plan on doing more kind of free flow, longer form videos where I'm just sharing my day and my adventures, much less formulaic and much less gimmicky, I guess would be the word. Like top 5 things I love about Hawaii probably won't be a video I do. What I'll do is I'll take you to places that I love in Hawaii and show you them and share that experience with you. Talk to people on the street, eat food, share the food I'm eating with you, things like that. So that's kind of what van life vlogging helped me with. I'm still not very good. The reason I was a bad travel vlogger is I'm not very good. I feel uncomfortable in public doing that. And you have to be comfortable in public doing that. So I still have to get over that. Van life allowed me to kind of do it out in the middle of the wilderness where there weren't a lot of people around. So I still have to get over that, which is just a silly fear to have, because those people don't give 2 craps about me and me filming. But yeah, so that would be what I got from van life and what I learned. And also live streams too. For me, I didn't do a whole lot of live streams, and van life actually taught me how important it is for community building. And it was actually, as you know, when you're out traveling, van life can be lonely. And for me, one of the reasons I did those super long live streams is the subscribers that would jump in there were kind of like company for me. When I was out in the middle of a national forest at 10 o'clock at night, they were kind of company for me because there wasn't anybody within 10 miles of me to talk to.
Right. Yeah, that's why boondocking, I'm more of an urban cowboy. Always somebody to talk to. So let me shift gears just a tad. So we like to do viewer recommendations. I don't know everything, that's for sure. And I get so many great ideas from the audience. I'm sure you did the same, Kevin, but this was really a curious one to me. And this comes from Sandy F. She's recommending, particularly for dogs, it's worked really well for her dogs. So her dogs would go off at the slightest noise outside of her RV. And what she's recommending is a Dome Classic white noise machine. She says it really helps prevent the dogs barking because it creates this wind noise inside that maybe cancels out what's going on outside. And she says it really, and even people talking outside, you can't hear that as readily inside. So, and she mentions overcoming tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, which can be an interesting benefit as well. So I just love these kind of recommendations. If you have them, shoot them over to me. There's the email address, gsllviewerrecommendation@gmail.com. You've been really great about flooding my email box, that email box in particular, with these kind of things. And I think so important for this to share out. So if you're an RVer with dogs and are having a barking issue, that probably startles you. They hear something, but maybe you can't. Maybe this could be a solution for you. I think that would be pretty cool. And let me
That's
roll with, yeah, right. And let's roll with, we got about 10 or 15 minutes left here. Let's roll with the, the song of the week. And this comes in from Debbie and Paul, an amazing couple in their Travato. I met them at the roundup we had at Keeler Farms in Florida near Tampa. And I've not listened to a Sammy Davis song in a long time on purpose. And if you haven't, I would recommend, as do they, I Gotta Be Me. And as Debbie kind of talks about, it's a song that really is a little bit like van life. You know, you kind of come out and experience life a little bit more fully is kind of the theme of the song. I Gotta Be Me. And it was really cool. All right. What kind of music do you like, Kevin? Everything
I like
or nothing?
everything. Yeah,
Everything?
to be honest with you, I can listen to anything. My father was a country musician. I grew up in Missouri. I was a punk rock musician. I was a punk rock lead singer when I was younger. So I'm all over the spectrum. I mean, I love Latin music. I'm all over the spectrum.
Yeah, it's and it's one of the great things about being on the road. You get to listen to so much different kind of music and find genres when you get to a destination. For me, that's really, really great. And I just love live music. Thanks, Zena, for this. Yeah, thumbs up, please. A thumb up for Kevin joining us and taking an hour of his Hawaiian day to join us. And thank you for that. And we've had quite a few folks in here. This is really amazing. I just really appreciate that. Which kind of leads us to our pet pick of the week. I'm on so much antihistamine. Excuse me, totally dried out. This is Rocco. Fireside. Look at the electric fireplace. This is from Dan in Sioux City, Iowa. Did that dog look comfy or what?
Is that in an RV?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think it's Class C. Yeah, I think that's true.
Cool.
That's super cool. We just love getting these pet pictures. And this one's kind of funny because this came in last week. If you remember, if you watched this last week, this is Buster, Opie, and Teddy. And Marlena was got her name spelled wrong last week, so I think I got it right this week. So they have puppuccinos at Starbucks. I'm like, what the heck is that puppuccino? And I said, send me a video of that. So let me show this because it's pretty hysterical. Let's see if I can figure out how to get this on at the stream.
Ready? Can you see them okay?
So watch these dogs hit these cups.
That's funny. Is that real? Like Starbucks sells those?
Yeah, apparently, or probably. Look at that dog, man. He's just zeroed in. It's like watching a human have a Jello shot. It, for some reason, just cracked me up. This one's not a little more dainty about it. Is that just the funniest thing? Yeah, so thank you, Marlena, for sending in the video. That was just super cute. And we'll go back over here at the stream. And again, you guys just bring so much joy to me by sharing what you're doing, and just the greatest thing. So maybe a few more questions are rolling in, which is great. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about this. Oops, let me get the sorry. Because I think you signed up to be a Starlink beta tester.
Yeah.
What's your experience like been with that?
Yeah. So when they actually reached out to me, but at the time they didn't have the mobile antenna package yet. So I was like, well, I don't want to do it then. That does me no good. I think now they do have a mobile antenna, but I think that's going to be a huge game changer, not only for RVs, but anybody. I mean, as soon as I can get on Starlink's phone service, and I used to be on Google Fi, which worked internationally, but they started putting the clamps on it. But as soon as I can get a Starlink phone service where I can use this thing anywhere on the planet, I'm all in on that.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a game changer for humanity in so many ways. It's incredible. Elon's my hero. So Tang says storytellers are banging cool. Completely agree. Dwayne wants to know, Kevin, weren't you going to Hawaii and Southeast Asian countries? Kind of, yeah, right?
I'm in Hawaii right now. And after here, I mean, I'll make this big announcement on your channel. I don't mind doing it. Because, I mean, I have a bunch of my subscribers in here, but the subscribers that we probably share. But I'm sure it won't get out. I have a ticket to Thailand in July. So in July, I'll be heading to Thailand if they'll let me in the country. Yeah, so yep. And then I'll kind of use that as a home base, trying to figure out how to get into other countries with all the COVID requirements and things like that. I'm hoping things start opening up to people who are vaccinated, and I'll be able to do a little bit of country hopping while I'm there.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I've only been to Vietnam as an Asian country, and the culture. If you go to Europe, it still feels like America-ish.
Yeah.
But man, when you go to an Asian country, for me at least, it's like you're on a whole different planet. I mean, you can't read anything. Number one, it's they don't translate for you on the signs, and the food is so incredible. So. So Jack's got a good question here. Kevin, are you staying on or at a military base there? He's a retired chief as well.
Yeah, so all the military-based lodging is in not very walkable locations. When I travel outside of the van, when I travel internationally, obviously I'm in the U.S., but when I travel to places, I always stay in walkable areas. I don't want to have to rent a car. In Hawaii, I'll rent a scooter and go around to different places on a scooter. But I don't want to have to rent a car and try to figure out where to park it and all that kind of stuff. So I always live in walkable areas. I'm in a very walkable area on Oahu right now. I've got, the mom and pop grocery store a block away from me, an unlimited amount of food. I'm only about 2 blocks away from Waikiki. So I have an unlimited amount of restaurant type of food. So I have a CVS right down the street, 7-Elevens. Actually, there's 2 7-Elevens within a block of me. So I don't, I'm not staying on the bases because it's just inconvenient to do that.
That's a good reason. And you got a really sweet deal on your place you're in because of some of the travel restrictions and business down a little bit.
Airbnb's have great deals on them right now for travelers outside of the continental United States.
That's a good point. Sparks Guy has an interesting question. Have you considered Peace Van's Metris or Weekender from Mercedes?
I haven't never looked at those. I'll have to check them out. There's so many different vans out there that it's always like, it's people ask like, have you heard of this van? I'm like, no, but I go check it out. And you see these really cool vans. So there's a lot of cool vans. I'm like you though, like I would need to have some kind of Volta system. Like if I build out a Honda Element, my goal is to convince Volta to like hook me up with some like smaller type of system. I know they're thinking about doing a portable unit or they're working on one. So I wouldn't go with a builder or a commercial RV that didn't have Volta in it at this point. I'm too spoiled by it.
Yeah, you get pretty spoiled for sure. And by the way, if you didn't catch the announcement, we're going to be having a channel roundup at the Volta factory in Holland, Michigan. It's about 3 hours from Chicago on Thursday, the 27th. So that's pretty special. They don't let many people in there. We might all have to sign NDAs, by the way. I don't know. We're still working the details, but it is not something that's really open to the public. So I really had to arm twist the Volta team there. And so if you're in the Chicago area and they're curious, it'd be a delight to have you join us for that. Sailboat question. Jody wants to know.
I was in the Navy with me and Jody were in the Navy together. Jody actually is very fascinating. Jody has lived on a sailboat with her family for, 15 years. Her kids grew up on a sailboat. She just got back from the Caribbean sailing there. Her kids are like teenagers now and they've lived on a sailboat their whole life. So Jody actually has Jody, if she had a YouTube channel, would blow up. I know she's got a blog, which is really good, and her Instagram is really good. I would definitely consider taking a sailboat somewhere in Hawaii for sure. Or you could just invite me to your sailboat, Jody, and I'll be a deckhand on your sailboat. But we were stationed together. She also spent 20 years in the Navy as well.
That's so awesome. Michael is giving us a shout out here. Says that we're both
Michael just bought a Travato.
You see this? 3 days in a wake up for pickup.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's
congratulations,
awesome.
I'm super excited for you. That is great.
I mean, the GL thing is like, yeah, but other than that,
you're poking fun at me.
I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Pick the floor plan that works best for you. That's my advice, right?
It's great that they have multiple floor plans.
Yeah, for sure. Ginger says so many updates. I'm running out my van. That could be almost a reality show, right?
It's 7 o'clock.
And we're just about out of time. So they've been waiting for Thailand. So this is great news for travel here. And
yeah, I'm excited. Thailand's one of my favorite places in the world. It's another place that is I feel really comfortable in. I've spent so much time there.
That's great. I would love to go someday. It's on my bucket list for sure. So Steve, I think this is Steve in Spokane. Says his delivery dates moved out from May to June. Yeah.
That's Steve was at your event.
The Wallace. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Great
cool.
guy. Todd. Starlink's gonna be a game changer for stargazers. Mess up the night sky. Yeah. Sorry about that. Well, this is great. So that wraps up the questions. You guys had some really great questions tonight. And Kevin, we just want to thank you for everything, and everybody give a thumb up because he stepped out of his Hawaiian thing to join us tonight, and just really, really appreciate that. So awesome for you. And next week you got me all by myself. Not nearly as interesting sometimes, but come join us at our meetups. I've been putting a lot of energy in this. You've been asking for it. So tomorrow night we're meeting outside of Cincinnati. Go to my website. It's got all the details. It's a Wooden Cask, an amazing place in this little historic town, Newport, Kentucky, right across the Ohio River. And with that, we say thank you, Kevin, so much for joining us. Appreciate that, man.
Thank you, everyone who showed up too.
We'll see you soon.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.